Hey everyone, welcome and welcome back to the Missy Money channel. My name's Missy and I'm a mom of 3 and the owner of Missy Money, a small business that specializes in minimalist and aesthetic cash stuffing essentials to help inspire and motivate you on your personal finance journey. Today I'm going to be doing my first ever cash unstuffing on camera, which is going to include reconciling all of my transactions on my credit card and debit card, and then showing you how I use that money and the spent envelope method to pay off my credit cards at the end of the month. If you're interested in learning more, stay tuned. All right, guys, I am so excited about this video because I've had so many of you reach out and just say how helpful the spent envelope method has been to be able to use credit cards and debit cards within the cash stuffing system while still reconciling and making sure that we're accounting for those purchases that are happening on our cards. So I decided that what might be helpful is to show you exactly how I use the spent envelope method and exactly how I use my credit card and debit card and how I reconcile for that over the month. Now, I will tell you with a lot of unstuffing videos, a lot of times people will do their unstuffing for the month all at one time at the very end of the month. What I usually do is if I can move money to account for a transaction on my card right away, I will do it right away. But there are cases where I'm not able to do that. Either I don't have the right amount of cash in my envelope, or maybe it's a sinking fund envelope and I keep those envelopes at home. So what I will typically do is I will check my spent envelope and my spent envelope tracker at the end of every pay period before I cash stuff my next paycheck. And then I will mark off and do my reconciliation for any transactions that I haven't moved yet. So at the start of this video, I'm actually going to jump back to week 1, and then you're going to see those reconciliations and those unstuffings happen at the end of every pay period. So there'll be 5 short unstuffings. And then at the very end of this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you my reconciliation of the total cash in my spent envelope and how I unstuff that and then put it into the bank to pay off my credit card and debit card transactions so I can get ready for the next month's worth of cash stuffing. So this video is going to show you the whole process on how it played out over the course of October, and hopefully you find it helpful. So let's go ahead and jump back to October week 1 unstuffing. I'm going to go ahead and pull out my wallet here, and we will flip back to my spent envelope and we will see what we've got. So these are all of the credit card and debit card transactions that I made during week 1 of October. And you can see any of them that have a check mark means that I already moved the money immediately. In the case of sinking funds, when I make a sinking fund transaction, that's usually when I need to go back and move the money later on. So I'm just going to go ahead and set my wallet aside here. And I'm going to keep my... Since shopping is my first transaction here, I'm going to pull out my short-term sinking funds, and we will go ahead and pull out $10 for shopping. I'm just going to set that right here. And I think that that was for, I mentioned that I needed a cord organizer because when I was unplugging my laptop on my desk, my cord kept like sliding right off the back of my desk, and I would have to feed it and chase it every single time back up. So so I got that cord organizer from Amazon, and it's lovely and working beautifully, and that was $10, well worth it. Okay, self-care is in this one. Let's do that one. And self-care was a 50 that needs to get unstuffed, so I'm going to pull that aside, and that is for an eyebrow design appointment, and I prepay that on my card before the appointment. So because I made that appointment, I needed to go ahead and pay that with a card, and so that is now all taken care of. I'm gonna check that off, and next I will pull out my long-term sinking funds. I'm gonna jump to medical, and I'm gonna pull out 25 for that. Perfect. And I'm always rounding up, guys, to the nearest $5. So in reality, like, I don't actually, that might have been a $25 copay exactly. So that's a bad example, but like this home purchase, for example, I'm pretty sure was not $25 exactly. It was probably like, you know, 22 or something. And I want to round up to the nearest 5 because I don't like keeping singles in my sinking fund. So I will round up to the nearest $5 bill. And then the other two are for the kiddos. All right. The school expense was our kids are at their school, they're assigned to little like kind of groups, and the groups have a color. So I'm pulling out, oh, I don't know, I'm trying to pull it out of Maverick. Whoops. Go back to school. They're assigned kind of a little color across grades. That's like their little team. And they each have a color. So, you know, Remy's in one color, Maverick's in another color, and they were making tie-dye shirts with their little color groups, which is super fun. So we had to send in white t-shirts for that. So I just went to Target and grabbed those. And then Remy, I need to pull out 10 from hers. And that is it. So I like to, I mentioned this before, but I like to unstuff at the end of every week, kind of before I begin my cash stuffing for the following pay period, just to make sure that I have a good handle on what is in my sinking fund envelopes, and that I'm not spending too much money in those that I don't have. So I am all caught up for week 1. So I'm just going to take this and pop it back into my spent envelope. And I am ready to go for week 2. All right, guys, time for week 2 unstuffing. So let's see what we've got on our spent envelope expense tracker. So you can see that I already did move a couple of transactions. If you are making an expense that you can move right away, you don't necessarily need to log it on your expense tracker. I'm doing that though, so throughout the course of the month, I can kind of document how this whole system works and then do a reconciliation at the end to show you the full process. But so I went ahead and did document those and then just check them off right away if they're coming from my weekly wallet. But I do have a few that did come from some sinking funds that I will need to go ahead and move over. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this to the side right here, and I will pull out the sinking fund binders that I need. So the first one is shopping. So I'm going to grab my short-term sinking funds and grab $40 out of shopping. There's that. And then let's see if I've got anything else. I think Lola and Luna are in my short term as well. Yep, Lola and Luna's in my short term. And I do not think I have, hold on. Let's check off shopping before I forget. I do not think that I have the full 120 in Lola and Luna. So let's check and see how much we have. We have 20, 40, 60, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. So I will take all of that. And then for the other 20, I'm going to go back here into my miscellaneous, and I'm going to pull 20 out of miscellaneous to make up the difference. So that's one reason I really like having a miscellaneous envelope within my short-term sinking funds, is because if I need to go over in any category, this is kind of my buffer fund. So I covered that 120 for Lola and Luna. And then the 2 other transactions were from my kids binders. Let me pull that one out. All right, so the first one is $20 from kids clothing. So let's flip back to that one. Where you at? Where you at? There it is. And I need $20 from kids clothing. So we've got that. And then I need $60 from school, which is for their school pictures, their school picture fee. So let's see. I'm going to try to pull some of the smaller bills. So we'll do 10, 20, 30, 40, 60. I'll just make sure that's right. 20, 30, 40, 50, 55, 60. Perfect. We'll keep the bigger bills in there. as much as you can anyway. All right, so that is it for both of these transactions. So that is it for this expense tracker. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pull my wallet, pull my wallet back here. I'm gonna add this cash to that pile, and then I'm gonna put this all back into my spent envelope. And I actually, since I filled out that tracker, I'm gonna go ahead and add a second page here into my spent envelope for the remaining transactions for the month. So that is it for week 2. All right, guys, week 3 of unstuffing. So let's see what we've got that we need to move over from this past week. So, oh, it's getting full over here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move all of that over to the side. So again, some transactions I already moved over that were from my variable expenses, my weekly wallet, and I was able to move those right away. So there are a few here that I do need to pull from my sinking funds. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with long-term sinking funds because that's where my holiday envelope was. And we need to pull 70 from that. And you know what? I am actually going to go ahead and put 100. So here's what I do. I'm going to move this over so you all can see how this works. So here's what I do if I want to use a bigger bill or I don't have the exact change for the amount that I need to pull. So I use my spent envelope as a way to make change. So I'm going to take this $100 from my holiday envelope and I'm gonna put it over here, but my expense for holidays was only 70. So that means that I'm going to take, actually that's perfect. I'm gonna take $30 back from the spent envelope and make change for myself that way. So now I've accounted for that $70 purchase from holidays by making that change exactly out of my spent envelope. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that one off. All right, support small business. Let's just make sure there's nothing else in. Yep, no, that's it. Okay, the rest of them are coming from my short-term sinking fund binder. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. The first one I am going to unstuff is my shop small. So I made my first shop small purchase. What I bought, so this candle is the candle that Autumn gave me, which is a harvest moon candle, and I have not, it smells so delightful. I have not wanted to burn it because I love the way that it looks for this fall season, but I have wanted to burn it because it smells delightful and I want my whole house to smell like it. So I actually just bought an exact additional one of these candles so I can have it downstairs and can burn it because I'm so excited, but also keep this one here for videos because I think it looks really nice. So so I went ahead and bought another one. So I'm gonna check off that. I've got the $30 for my shop small envelope and I will start restuffing that one. So if there's another one of my subscribers and viewers with a small business that I can support, I would love to do that. So next, I am going to unstuff gifts. I've got a friend getting married, so got them a gift, and I do not know that I'm going to have enough in gifts, so we will see. So that was a $100, 20, 40, 60, 80. I do not have enough, so I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to jump back here to my miscellaneous envelope for the extra 20. So now I've got 100, and I'm all set for that one. All right, family fun. Let's go to that one. Family fun was 95. So we've got 50, 90. Do we have a 5? We don't. So I'm going to do the same thing here where I am going to move this over, show you what I do. I am going to actually, I'll probably just pull the 250s then. So I'm going to pull these 250s, but I don't need all $100. I just need 95. So I'm going to go ahead and put those 50s in here, and then I'm going to scour for a 5. I've got one right there out of my spent envelope funds, and then put that 5 back. So that accounts for the $95. We went to a little like fall farm, pumpkin farm with the kids, let them pick out some things. And then also went to lunch after, which was super fun. So that accounts for that. And then shopping. Shopping was $45. So I'm going to go ahead and I have that exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that. And then put the rest of this back in shopping. Check that one off as well. And that is it for reconciling card purchases for week 3. Just gonna go ahead and pull. It's getting super full as it usually does towards the end of the month. So I've got one more week of card purchases for this month. We'll be stuffing my 4th paycheck here soon, and then after the end of that pay period, then I'll be able to unstuff that and deposit it in the bank. That'll be next week. So let's see what transactions we need to account for from this past pay period. So all right, I'm going to move this to the side over here and we will go ahead and see what we've got. Actually, I'm going to move it a little bit further. All right, we'll see what we've got. So I have got a shopping, holidays, family fun. Okay, so holidays is going to be in my long-term sinking fund binder. So let's go ahead and do that one first. And that was for the rest of our, last week I got our, well, the previous week, not this past week, but the one before that, I got the kids' costumes for school, but I went ahead and got our family costumes for trick or treat. So that is $130, which I have exactly, which is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. And I will grab my pen and mark off holidays. And then the other 2 are in my short-term sinking fund. So let me grab that binder. I like doing this every week just to make sure that I am caught up and that it doesn't become too much of a singular event that becomes overwhelming. So, all right, let's see here. Shopping, I need 45, which I also have exactly, which is great. I like to keep a little bit of a, even after a cash condensing, I like to keep a little bit more flexibility in my short-term sinking funds and my kids binder, because those I end up pulling from more often and usually like the flexibility. And then family fun, I need 60, which I also have exactly, which is perfect. So I'm gonna throw that back, and then I will go ahead and bring my wallet back out. And my spent envelope is getting ridiculously full this month, and that is because normally this would be the end of my transactions for the month, but I have got one more week because this month is a magic month. So I am going to need to squeeze all of this in here and squeeze a little bit more in here before I deposit back into the bank. So that is it for this week. All right, guys, this is week 5 of unstuffing and reconciling my credit card and debit card purchases in my spent envelope. So I am going to go ahead and pull out this entire stack here because I am in my last week. This has been the end of the pay period for week 5, which means I am at the end of my last week of October. So I'm actually going to be able to do the reconciliation of all the cash that I've got in my spent envelope, and we will make sure that I have done the math the right way and that it's enough to cover my credit card balance and reestablish my buffer for my debit card. And then we will go ahead and be able to start November with a clean and fresh spent envelope. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for now because there are a few expenses that I'm going to need to pull from my sinking funds and just check off the list. So this past week I did have a couple of expenses I went ahead and moved right away because they were in my variable expense envelopes, but there were 3 that were in sinking fund envelopes that I need to go ahead and move now. So the first one is from holidays. So that would be my long-term sinking funds. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out here. And this was just for Halloween candy. So we could have Halloween candy to pass out in our neighborhood. So that was 40. And I'm going to go ahead and pull, I'll do 4 tens for that. I'm going to put that over in my stack there, and I will replace the rest of it. So that takes care of holidays. And then the other 2 are in my short-term sinking funds. So let me go ahead and grab that binder. All right. So we are ready for the last 2. So the first was gifts. Just got a little set of cookies for my nephew, and gifts was $30. I do not have $30 exactly, so what I'm going to go ahead and do, just so you guys can see it, I'm going to move this over so you can watch how I do this. So whenever I don't have exact change, I actually use my spent envelope funds to make change for myself. So I need to pull $30 for this transaction. I do not have $30, but I do have a 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this 50 over and pull a 20 back to make change for myself. So that way I'm accounting for this $30 purchase, but I'm not having to take everything out of my gifts envelope since I didn't need that full $50 bill. So I'm going to put the rest of that back into gifts and check off my $30 purchase. And then kindness projects. So I spent $240 putting together the candy buffet for my sister's big event, her big fundraising event for her nonprofit business. So I'm gonna go ahead and unstuff that. And I'm hoping that I have enough to cover it, but we will see here. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200, 10, 20, 30, 40. Awesome. So that covers that. And she did such an incredible job with that event. I'm just so proud of her and all the work that she puts into it. So it was such a cool thing to witness. I was super excited to be able to have the funds to be able to do that for her. So, all right, that takes care of all of my expenses for October. So I'm going to put this back, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull all of these funds out, and I'm going to keep my trackers here to the side. So over the past 5 weeks, 5 because October is a magic month. Normally it would only be 4 weeks. But over the past 5 weeks, I have been slowly contributing all of this cash into my spent envelope to represent my credit card and debit card purchases. So I am going to go ahead, I'll do this off camera just because it'll take me a while, but I'm going to go ahead and add up all of these amounts that I've got down on both of my trackers. All right, guys, so my total amount for all of the amounts added up for all of my debit and credit card transactions for October was $2,115. So that is how much cash I would expect to have in this pile. We will go ahead and count that in a second. Now, I also checked my current credit card balance, and my current credit card balance is $1,933.42. And then I also had only one debit card purchase. It was for family fun when we went to the little farm, and that they only took debit card and cash. So I also had a $95 debit card purchase from that farm, which was a couple purchases while we were there, but added up to $95. So my total spent on cards this month was $2,028.42. Now you might wonder why I should have $2,115 here in this pile, but I only actually spent $2,028.42. And that is because, as a reminder, when I make debit and credit card purchases, I will actually round up to the nearest $5 bill. That's because I don't like carrying $1 in my wallet or in my sinking funds. And it just makes sure that I'm kind of creating a buffer for myself for using credit cards and debit cards. So when I deposit this amount in the bank, I will be putting more of a buffer in than what I really need. And I will show you what I do with that, because over every single month of doing that, I'm actually creating a buffer for myself over the course of the year. At the end of the year, I do a big reconciliation with what is in my bank account. And if there is any extra in my bank account beyond what I expect to be there for all of my sinking funds, for my emergency savings, for my placeholders, I will take that cash out and actually cash stuff it intentionally. So again, we'll cover that once I get to the end of the year, but I should have more in this pile than what I actually need to pay off my credit card and reestablish my buffer for my debit card. And so let's go ahead and do a count and double check and see if it matches up for what we were expecting. So the first thing I'm going to do is just organize all the different bills I've gotten here. So all right, so got everything stacked up here. And actually, you know what? After that, I actually want it stacked the other way. All right, there we go. All right, so let's make sure we have got what we think we should have. So I'm gonna go ahead and count 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. And I am going to pop that in and separate that as $1,000. I do not want to count on the 50 mark. So I'm going to start with 20s and then I'll add 50 in a second. So 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 40, 60, 83, 20, 40, 60, 84, 20, 40, 60, 85, 20, 40, 60, 86, 20, 40, 60, 87, 20, 40, 60, 88, 850, 8, 68, 78, 80, 90, 900, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1000. So that is $2,000. So I should have $115 left. So 10, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 5, 10, 15. Perfect. Okay. So $2,115 going back to the bank to pay off my credit card and debit card. And that means that I will be able to start fresh with an empty spent envelope for the month of November. So this is my first time doing this kind of reconciliation and unstuffing video series that kind of covers all 5 weeks in the month, or covers the length of the month. And I would love to know what you guys thought about it. If this was helpful to kind of see how I use my spent envelope and the spent envelope method over time. And if it was helpful, please go ahead and drop a comment and let me know. Or if there's more you'd like to see or something different that you'd like to see in this series, please let me know that as well. It's always super helpful to hear back from you all. So as always, if you are following along on your own personal finance journey, I wish you a simple budget, a calm mind, and a happy life. Thanks for watching.